I think today will be a good day to do an update on the things that we've got growing in the garden and in that container garden, just to see what sort of progress we're making. And although for the last couple of days the temperature's dropped a little, it's been a bit windy still as well. Next week in the UK the temperatures are going to go up to 21 degrees and sunny for the best part of 10 days, so that should help a lot. And we'll also take a look at a couple of problems that's occurring in the garden at the moment as well. Things that you want to keep your eye out for when we're still in spring, not quite in summer yet, because they can get out of control really quickly. But before we do any of that, I want to give a massive thank you to Sheila Thomas, who has made a donation to this channel, and that money will be put straight back into this channel to buy some fresh compost. So thank you very much for that donation, Sheila. It's really, really appreciated. Now let's get on and have a look at these plants. So things looking okay outside as well in this bed. That's the strawberries. No strawberries at the moment, but lots of flowers, so they're definitely on the way. Those outdoor tomato plants that weren't looking too well, seems like the top's trying to green back up a little bit, but the bottom leaves have took a bit of a beating because of these winds that we've been having. So we'll just have to see how they go. And those spring onions are looking really good. And that hoop tunnel that we did, and we put these Brussels plants in, seem to be doing okay. Again, I keep seeing a bit of leaf burn on them, so I think that's because we keep getting these light rain showers and then the sun comes out, and obviously that's going to cause your leaves to burn a little, but they should recover. Onions are doing really well. Nothing really much to do with these except keep them weeded and wait to see what happens. But that potato bed, the one with 28 seed potatoes in it, that has gone a bit nutty. So we're going to have to find some way of securing these edges down, because the plants are trying to push their way out. Even more so on this side. So I'm not sure whether I ought to just take the net off these, because potato plants don't really have much in the way of pests. But we'll have to tie some string around it if we remove this net. Otherwise, if we get any winds, it'll start knocking these plants over like it tends to do every year. This bed is looking quite good. Onions are coming along well, and we've got a lot of carrots growing as well in there, which we're going to have to start and thin out as well. And down that centre, they're those snowball cauliflower plants. They've put quite a bit of growth on so far, so quite pleased with those. And those potato plants that we buried really deep and earthed up as well, all of them have come through now. We replaced those French beans as well, because pretty much all of them ended up dying. I grew a backup set and put them in, and they seem to be doing okay at the moment, even though it has dropped quite cool over the last couple of days. So again, with this pending good weather on the way, these should get a really good spurt of growth. Everything's looking really fine in here as well. All these tomato plants that were put in quite recently, and cucumbers, nothing seems to have affected them at the moment, so that's good. They're all looking really nice, green and healthy, so no problems there. And then we put a couple of these garden pearls in these pots, and again looking alright. A couple of flowers coming on top of those. I'm saying in this one, because I mean the size of these oak leaf green lettuces, they're really big. So we're going to have to get some harvests off those. Maybe a salad at some point this week. Well, especially when this warm weather hits as well. It'll be salads all the way. We've got another one of those tomato plants in here as well. And that's put on lots of growth. But so have these sunflowers. And if I put my hand next to them, you can appreciate the actual size of these at the moment. We've got 3 in there. Peppers are doing really well. These are chili peppers, the hot lemon drops. They've got flowers on. They're trying to do something, and they've just split off into that first Y that they get as they're growing. And those spring onions look really healthy as well. But this is one of the problems I was saying that we're getting at the moment. We're getting slugs, which I can only assume is slugs. Or, like, to be fair, I mean, looking at the extent of this damage, that could be a pigeon or birds. But they are making quite a meal out of some of these leaves. So we're going to have to take all these leaves off that are no good. They're no good for me to eat once I know something's been on them. So we'll have to remove the bad leaves, and hopefully we'll get some new ones growing. There's another weed which I need to sort out. And then French beans, although I still haven't pinned them up, have now decided to grow right over there. We'll sort these out today because they've got some more fresh leaves come on them as well. So I'll get something done with these for definite today. Try and keep them on that pole somehow. Not much to say about these. They're those Jack Be Little miniature pumpkins we planted, but they've only been in a day or so, so not expecting to see much from them at the moment. But it's good to see that there's no damage so far. And we've got this bed. This is a recent one we've done with a lot of brassicas in it. We'll see how they get on. And we've got that sweet corn next to it as well. But the other problem I was going to mention today is concerning brassicas. And I've got some in greenhouse which I'll show you in a bit. So everything's okay in the beer garden, which we was in last night. It was Ginny's birthday and we had a barbecue, and a couple of drinks. But what I did just before that is I installed some electric. So we had laptop up here, so we had some tunes going, and I installed a light as well. So we was out here until gone 10 o'clock last night, and it was actually really nice. We had a really good time, and thank you to everybody who wished her happy birthday as well. She really appreciated that. Yeah, so again, this that once was an old dog shed, we decided to try and convert it into something different. So we made this shelter, so even if it's summer and it rains, we can still sit out here because we've got tables, we've got chairs, and we've now got electricity. And also last night we lit this when it dropped cool. We had a nice little fire going as well. So a really good night all in all. And we've dug out a border here as well and put in a few more plants. We've got a bit of ivy, what we've planted there, and some wire that we've pinned to the fence for it to grow up, and a few more lychnis and blue bedders. Then we've got those mini pop sweet corns. Seem to be coming in alright. This one's put quite a lot of growth on since we put it in. All the baskets are looking really well. We hung those up as well. Look quite nice. Just put a couple of tea lights in them. But obviously when it's starting to get dark, they're really effective in the different colours. Clematis is really slow growing, but it is trying. And these sunflowers that we put in are now starting to develop a head on them. even that tiny one there. And as bedhead planter, there's more flowers coming on these pansies now, which is, like I say, it's always good to see that things are coming into flower. As with this lavender that we've got, that's looking really colourful now. And then of course we've got these alderman peas, which once again we've had to add another piece of string because they're really starting to climb up this now. Not be too long before they reach that top. So we should be expecting to see some flowers on these soon. And everything in this bed is looking really good. Plus, as an added bonus, we've got pears growing on it now. And there is actually quite a lot. So I'm hoping that these are going to turn out really well. But they're all over the place on this. And that's a dwarf pear tree, or a patio pear tree. This bed basically looks like it did before, except for this is now starting to come into flower, which is good to see. And we've got some really big flowers on this clematis. This strawberry tower, again, looking really well. We've got a couple of strawberries starting to develop on it now. So you know that when a plant starts to fruit, it's got no problems. So that's really good to see. But we might want to give it a bit of a turn today, which is the reason we pinned that pole into the ground, so that we can make sure that through season all the plants get a fair share at sunshine. So moving into container garden, again, potato plants looking really healthy. Cauliflower, centre leaves don't look very good at the moment, but we'll have to investigate that and find out why. And as cucumbers that we're going to grow up this trellis are looking alright, so we're going to have to start and pin these back as well. We don't want them falling onto the compost. And we've got a bit of lettuce in there and some spinach. We put that one in there yesterday. That's the Jack B. Little planter, and we're going to let them grow right up there because they're miniature pumpkins. This is as the petit pois plants, which we've made this frame for them to grow up, because they only get to about 2 feet tall, so that's going to be plenty for them. But the great thing is they're coming into flower now, so that means very shortly we're going to be getting some petit pois peas, which is brilliant. And it has started to bush out quite a bit now. And we had his first strawberry spotted yesterday, but today there's another one. So these plants are coming on quite well, considering it's not even summer at the moment. That tin bath planter, that seems to be doing okay. The spinach, we've already took 3 harvests from these spinach plants and they just keep coming and coming, which is great. And of course we've got some extra salad just here, and those onions beneath. The spinach has gone to seed in this salad bowl planter, so I mean that's not a problem because we'll just pinch these out and we'll still leave the salad leaf to grow on, but these have gone now, so we'll sort that out at some point today. In this raspberry plant, we've got a couple of cauliflowers in this planter and some alderman peas, which are growing up this railing behind them. We've also got some canes for them to grow up as well, and they've also come into flower. More potato plants looking really well, and the French beans also trying to come into flower as well. So we need to get these growing up, these canes. But these potato planters, again, are looking really well. And we've got some more peas on the other side of that railing as well. And this is a golden raspberry. It's put on loads of growth. It was that high when we put it in, and obviously now it's beyond that second level, and it's looking really healthy as well. Nice green on it. Unlike this potato plant, it got a lot of wind damage over the last few days, so some of the foliage is a bit worse for wear, so we'll be taking some of that off. But it has still got some decent growth on it, so hopefully it'll be alright. This is another plant that's coming to flower as well. So as you've just seen, everything in the garden seems to be coming on really well, and lots of things are now starting to not only put on that extra growth, but also they're coming into flower. So soon we're going to be starting to get some harvests, what we've been waiting for. But we have still got a few problems in that garden. Some are unavoidable, and this is an example of one of the problems that we've got. I'll take this out, you'll be able to see it a lot clearer. If you look closely at this plant, if you look right there, they're aphids. And this plant, even though it's only a really small plant, is covered in them. And I suspect that this might be something to do with what's happening in the garden as well, on a few plants that look like they've been burnt. But I've got a funny feeling that they've got somewhere on them plants an infestation like this of aphids, which is something you definitely don't want. So these plants, obviously, they'll get destroyed. The problem with aphids is once they get on your plants, they tend to stay on there and they just drain the sap out of that plant, which obviously will cause that plant eventually to die. And because it's still spring, it's not quite summer yet, there's not as many predators around which would help deal with problems like that, like wasps and ladybirds. So I think this afternoon I'll be taking a few nets off, and I'll go round and I will check all these plants just in case there is a bit more of an infestation going on than I've seen so far, because I need to treat that straight away, because it could potentially ruin all those plants we've got growing, and we don't want to be starting from scratch. So hopefully you enjoyed that update, and as I said, we've got some progress, we've got good news, we've got a little bit of a problem, but it's nothing that we can't deal with if we catch it in time and then also keep on top of it. So if you want to see how these plants get on, just hit that subscribe button and press the notifications bell, and we'll see you at next update. You all take care. Thank you very much for watching.